Thank you. Good afternoon to everyone, to our panel. For the methodology, we have our research design. For the research design, we will be utilizing the quantitative descriptive research design, in which descriptive because it will be used to describe the characteristics of the population, and for quantitative, since we are going to quantify the collection and analysis of data. For the sampling, we will be using the convenient sampling. This is also known as our accidental or opportunity sampling, a type of non-probability sampling that involves the sample being drawn from that part of the population that is close to hand. And for the respondent, we have the GSDMSFI graduate of BSMT, or the Bachelor of Science in Medical Technology and Bachelor of Science and Pharmacy, graduated 2017 to 2019. For the BSMT graduate, we have a total of 137 graduates, and for the BSPH, we have 130 graduates. And when it comes to the target population that we need to gather, if we are going to use the Slovin's formula, for the BSMT, our target respondent will be 102. For the BS Pharmacy, our target respondent will be 98. For the research tool, we are going to use the GSDMSFI Tracer Study Questionnaire. This is also used last 2017 questionnaire. It's either we are going to adapt with an O or adapt with an A, this questionnaire, depending on your recommendation later. And for the statistical analysis, we will be using the frequency distribution, mean, and weighted means. By the way, when it comes to research tool, as we use the GSDMSFI Tracer Study Questionnaire, last time it is in hard copy, at the same time in Excel, in Word document. By this time in our in our study, we are going to put it in a Google form, in which we will just send the Google link to the graduates. For our data gathering procedure, Sir George, can you please? Sorry. For the data gathering procedure, first we need to ask permission from the establishment, considering that our alumni work into different field, it be in private sectors or public or government, and it is much easier also to go with their different workplace, so that it's easier for us na communicate sila. At the same time, another, we're going to distribute distribution of the GSDMSFI Tracer Study questionnaire. When it comes to distribution, we could also utilize our messenger, or we can also utilize the group chat of the alumni, of the GSDMSFI alumni. At the same time, we could also tap the batch president, so that they could distribute the questionnaire to their fellow alumni. Next, we have the data analysis. The last one is the data analysis, in which we are going to compute for the frequency distribution, means, and weighted means, and later for the interpretation that could be used for our conclusion. And that's all. This is all our study all about, and thank you for so much for your time, and we are ready to hear for your suggestion and recommendation to our paper.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma'am Baruis and Sir Andres. I know our co-panelists here, Dr. Luis and Dr. Duquesa, has recommendations in relation to the paper.
Good afternoon. So, umpisa na tayo, Ma'am Joy. Are we going to start? Okay
Yes,
na po?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So, I think it will be faster this time. So, let's go to the title na. So, are we going to do the same thing that they are going to divorce? So, they are going to work separately. One will be working for the med tech, and then another one, Miss Baruis will be focusing more on the pharmacy. Okay yun, Ma'am Joy? So I do not know if I am the one who is who has the right to say that. I hope it will be coming from our AVPA.
Yes, because part of the recommendation earlier, no, with the two programs, I will just discuss that with the top management, no, in relation to this, that the original fusion of two programs, based on the recommendation of the panelists earlier, to separate the medtech from the pharmacy, no. So it will be a separate study. Okay. But I'll be discussing that. No, anyways, if I'll just be updating you by next week, no, about it. But of course, even with the questionnaire that you will be providing, no, and with our alumni, it will be separate naman, no, per department. Kasi during sa presentation ng results, separate naman talaga ang pharmacy tsaka medtech. Okay.
So thank you, Ma'am Joy. So Mr. Andres and Miss Baruis might be happier this time because they can concentrate now to their respective programs at the same time. Meron na silang kanya-kanyang trabaho. Ma'am Joy, tama ba? Masaya ba sila? Magdi-divorce na sila. So,
Kasi nakahanda si Sir George po, doon na pasubo ako si Tia. Sige lang, Sir George. Patabangan ta lang pag pagkuha ng responses.
sa tingin ko magiging masaya sila, Ma'am Joy, kasi synchronous ang nyo, simultaneous ang inyong data gathering. So, isa lang nagkakumpas, tapos lahat na at the same time. Anyway, so ang title nila, tama na ito. So 2017 pala, hindi 2007. So that is good for 3 years din. 2 years lang, 2017, 3 years.
18. 3 years.
Tama.
Yes po.
Ma'am Joy, naging sila, speechless kasi maghiwalay sila.
Nabigla lang. Sige lang, we'll be discussing that also no, by next week. I'll need to discuss that with the top management.
So I hope Dr. Ruiz and Ma'am Joy would agree with me na before we give them suggestions at the introduction, puntahan na kaagad ang SOP para ma-align kung bakit ganon. Tama ba? SOP na kaagad?
For the introduction, I think one of our suggestions kanina, ma'am, earlier, the results of the previous studies conducted in 2016 must be also mentioned in the introduction. Para ma-connect nila po yung current study nila, that it will be a replicate study, but we need also to have some updating with our alumni. Kasi way back in 2016, we have already gathered some information about them, but we need also to update our data here in our school about the whereabouts of our alumni.
Okay. So in addition, siguro meron naman silang mga na-mention dito, maging consistent lang sila sa 2019 nila, at 2017 to 2019. Sa introduction nila, they need to again follow the organization of their ideas na parang inverted pyramid, na generic yung sa taas, sa ilalim magiging local. And then don't forget to include the historical background of the programs offered by GSMSFI in order for us to be able to connect the findings that we have in the previous tracer study with the need to conduct a study this time because of the absence of information. So, yun siguro. Then, at the same time, kailangan lagi nating i-cite yung CHED requirement on why there is a need for us to conduct a tracer study, the importance of conducting tracer study, at the same time, kung bakit a justification in order for the institution to improve its program offerings. So sa local setting, it has to be really emphasized na the need to conduct a study because of the absence of information, plus in order for the school to be compliant to the CHED requirements, and at the same time, siguro invoke din yung quality assurance in order to make the curriculum continually relevant to the society para maging faithful sa sa mission vision. Okay. Yun siguro ang sa introduction. Maybe Dr. Ruiz and Dr. Joy can add more before we proceed to the SOP, no?
Yes, ma'am. I agree with the suggestions earlier that the introduction should include a rationale on the importance of the current tracer study, highlighting the previous study which have been done. Okay.
Okay na.
Proceed natin sa SOP, ma'am.
Sige na, sige na.
Okay.
Yes. So pareho na lang tayo doon. Kasi may
Yes.
questionnaire naman daw sila. So na-take note ba yun ni Ma'am Reza kanina, or we will just repeat what we have given as a suggestion kanina?
Yes,
Sa
ma'am.
SOP 1 month long, pinapalitan lang natin yun, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Highest educational attainment.
Yes, ma'am. And then SOP number 2, we just separate the level of satisfaction.
Okay. Hanggang 2.8 lang. Pero Ma'am Dr. Ruiz, kailangan natin malaman nila na yung mga indicators ng type of industry and designation, tama ba? Kailangan naka-align din sa nakalagay sa CMO na career paths ng ng mga graduates of the program para meron siyang flavor of the CMO or curriculum as prescribed by CHED. So doon lang magbabari ang indicators nila sa questionnaire nila. Tama?
What we mean, Ma'am Baruis and Sir George, with that, like for pharmacy, we have manufacturing pharmacy. Pharmacists who are assigned in the hospital, may hospital pharmacy. We have also community pharmacy, ganon. So based sa mga career tracks, no, ng pharmacy kung saan sila. And for the medtechs, I think yung mga career paths sa medtechs ba, hospital? Ano pang iba, Sir George?
Yung private, yung
more on kasi
yung laboratory nila, yung private laboratories nila, Ma'am Joy, di ba?
Freestanding community. Pero ang ila kasi more on sa areas ila eh. Unlike sa more on hospital talaga, laboratory lang nila. Unlike with pharmacy with different talaga areas na clear. Ang ilaha kasi more on sections. Nasa hospital pa rin siya or sa laboratory and then different sections lang.
Okay.
Oo, like
pwede naman yun i-vary. Iiba na lang nila kasi may definition of terms sila na mangyayari later on.
Parang kung special areas na lang po, ma'am. Ganun po ba? For example,
sa inyo siguro, sir.
Hospital for another
molecular. Freestanding siguro na lang, sir. Hospital, freestanding, and then yung iba na, like for example, na-assign sila sa mga special units or agencies, pero pa rin sila, medtech related. Tapos yung iba naman, they serve as med reps, no? So
Yes po.
ibang path siya, more on entrepreneurial or na career path.
Okay.
Thank you po.
Okay na.
Ay, pwede may ask po ako, Dean? Yung ano po, ah, yung career path po, depende kung saan na-assign yung medtech. Saan po yung ilalagay sa SOP, Dean? Bali, tanggalin na po itong
Meron
align.
yan dun sa SOP, sir, yung industry where they are working. What type of
ito po.
industry?
Okay po.
Oo, kasi doon sa old na questionnaire, naka-general yun ng mga
Yes.
types of industries. If you can remember with the previous, may medical establishment, academe, healthcare, manufacturing. Kumbaga, gihalo-halo na doon. But then ngayon, we need to focus more on, parang i-contextualize na ba, kung medtech, ano ba yung mga areas na possible na saan ang mga medtechs ngayon? Like, nandun ba sila sa hospital? O clinical ba sila? Or ano? And then i-others na lang yung ibang mga industries na hindi siya directly connected with the medtech na trabaho. No, di ba? Kasi may iba nagtatrabaho sila hindi as medtech.
Thank you po.
So, okay na. So, done na with the SOP2. Tatanggalin na lang daw po yung yung level of satisfaction. Tama
That
ba?
would be a separate
Yes, ma'am.
needs. Oo. SOP number 3 na yun siya. And also yung sa income, no, it was mentioned earlier that it should be a monthly income para malaman natin yung monthly, not the annual income, but monthly income.
Okay. Then ang number 4, so the number 3 na yung level of satisfaction. Number 4, ito na yung number 3 nyo na original. So, it will be, ibigay na lang natin siguro sa kanila. So, it will be stated as to what extent did the, ano yun? Sandali lang. Nagatingin kasi ako sa laptop ko na, Juan. Yung number 3 natin, Ma'am Reza, kung tama ba o Ma'am to what extent did the GSD-MSFI education affect, ano ba, paano yan? Affect the, parang to what extent did the GSD-MSFI education, hindi affect yun. Parang na-utilize ba yun? Ano yung sabi natin last time? Contributed. To what extent did the GSMSFI education contributed to the development, no, di ba? To the development of, tama ba? Meron yung 4.1, 4.2, development of institutional outcomes. Then number 2, to the development of 4.1 institutional outcomes and 4.2 core values. To what extent did the GSM-SFI education contributed to the development of 4.1 and 4.2? 4.1 is institutional outcomes, 4.2 is core values. Tama? Tama ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Joy?
Yes, ma'am. Tama, ma'am.
Okay. Then ang number 5, what is the extent pa rin, di ba? What is the extent of the involvement of the alumni for the growth of the institution in terms of bakit nawala, nag-iba na ang aking in terms of intention to recommend, ang na-memorize ko kasi yung kanina na study, tapos sa kanila yung interchange nila, di ba? Kaya parang sabi ko, bakit parang mali ang kopya? To what extent, parang akala ko iba ang tinitingnan ko. Gayahin na lang siguro natin yung kanina, parallel. na ang 5.1 is intention to recommend GSMSFI to potential students. Ang 5.2 is involvement in the projects and programs of the institution. So to what extent is the involvement of the alumni in the growth of the institution in terms of 1, intention to recommend GSMSFI to potential students, 2, involvement in the projects and programs of the institution. Tama? Or siguro hindi na lang involvement kasi may involvement na sa taas, participation na lang para mapaiba. Participation in the projects and programs of the institution. Okay na? So parang yun na ang wakas ng SOP hanggang 5.2. No, baka na may nakalimutan ako, Ma'am Flong.
Okay na, ma'am? Okay, ma'am.
Oo. So, okay na. Sir Andres and Ma'am Baruis, are you following?
Yes, ma'am.
Oo.
Ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
in regards po, going back po dun sa demographic profile, is it okay kung if we are going to ask the respondent if they are a board passer or not?
Pwede naman. Pwede naman. Actually, sa ibang board, sa ibang tracer study, tinatanong talaga ang kanilang yung condition sa
Yes.
licensure examination. Condition. Kung hindi man ang rating, condition. Pwede siya.
Kasi last time kasi nung nag-tracer study kami, napansin ko po kasi meron kasi yung part na yung employability, di ba, less than 6 months. And may mga courses po kasi that na-employ lang sila sa after nilang makapasa ng board exam. Ayan. So that's why parang parang apektuhan yung result doon. So yun lang po.
Pero don't you think na may kopya naman ang eskwelahan kung sino ang nakapasa o hindi? So do you need to ask that? Hindi naman siguro alam na natin sa atin.
Okay. Kung
Nakamute po kayo, Ma'am Munins. Nakamute po kayo, Ma'am. Ma'am Munins, nakamute po kayo.
I don't think we need to still ask that. Unless kasi kung meron mga profiles na tatanungin na, baka hindi, ewan ko lang kung hindi siya kagandahan. Pero it's more on, if we have the data, sa atin na lang yung we don't need to ask that again.
okay.
So ang atin na lang siguro is, kung conclusion natin, darating tayo sa punto na paramihan ng hindi kasi yon magiging batayan. Posible na mas mataas ang income ng iba, di ba? Dahil nasa, yung sabi niyo, nagnegosyo sila, entrepreneurial field ang kanila. So, we don't need to ask that na lang siguro. Di ba? Lalo na masaya na sila sa buhay na move on na sila. Tatanungin ko, nakapasa ka ba o wala? I do not know. Unless na lang kung i-partner mo siya sa ano ang awards mo na nag-graduate ka. So ano ang iyong rating sa board exam? At ano ang inyong nakuha na special training sa inyong pag-aaral? Okay yun, pero kung maglabas talaga siya doon na nakapasa ka ba o hindi, parang hindi kagandahan, di ba?
Okay.
I do not know if Ma'am Joy and Dr. Ruiz would agree with me na kailangan pa nating tanungin kung nakapasa siya o wala.
Ma'am, I agree, ma'am, that it would be redundant to ask questions about board exam ratings, considering that the school already have the data on that.
Thank you
Pwede
po.
natin i-include siguro, mag-document review na lang siya, pero that would be a different study na.
Oo. Di tama yun, ma'am. Ibang study naman yun na meron kang i-compare kung ano ang nangyari sa kanila noon versus ngayon, di ba? Pero I think, na. So, okay na tayo sa SOP?
Yes, ma'am. Okay na, ma'am.
Okay. Ma'am Baruis and Sir Andres, are you okay?
Yes po.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you po. Thank you for asking, ma'am.
Okay. Dr. suggestion mo kanina, parang nakalimutan nila. yung mga definition.
Yes, ma'am. Definition
So
of
I will
term.
just reiterate. Kung nakalimutan yung definition of terms. I-reiterate ko lang yung suggestion kanina ni Dr. Ruiz na you need to include the definition of terms. Lahat ng mga terminologies, lalong-lalo na sa title plus sa SOPs, kailangan na define yon. Okay na? Ma'am Long, magdiretso na tayo sa scope and delimitations. So we will just be giving a generic recommendation for delimitations. That is to ensure that dahil separate na kayo, you have to identify the what, who, where, and when of your study in the scope and delimitations with matching justification for your answers to the what, who, where, and when. Okay? So although andyan naman ang ibang mga elements, pero since this time you will be separating, may kanya-kanya na siyang justification. Okay? I hope okay na tayo, Sir Andres and Ma'am Baruis. And then,
Yes, ma'am.
significance of the study, andyan na si Ched. Meron pang Department of Labor. Okay. So, ang importante, okay. So, kanina nag-suggest kami, Ched, GSM-SFI, Ched, teachers in the program, students, at saka future researchers. So, andyan naman ang mga sagot nyo, pero siguro i-combine nyo na lang kasi meron kayong RLE coordinators, faculty, clinical instructors. Meron din kayong GSM-SFI, BSMT, and BSPH pharmacy department. Siguro, i-combine nyo na yon para maging GSM-SFI na siya. Para at least you will have at least 5. So, mag-end kayo sa future researchers. Dr. Ruiz and Ma'am Joy, kayo naman sa conceptual framework.
Okay. So my suggestion for the conceptual framework, review your conceptual framework presentation to consider the variables we have in your statement of the problem. Consistency of the terms, like for example, career status. We haven't mentioned career status in our statement of the problem. So katong mga naalang dito sa SOP nato na mga variables. Okay. And then yung comment ko ma'am doon na sa chapter 3 ma'am on the discussion.
Ma'am, can I have some comment with the conceptual framework? Would it be good na the independent variable, it should not be the GSMSFI alumni involvement, but it should be the more on the institutional outcomes and values that would, ano ba yung ano natin, tingnan mo. I-check natin ma'am B, ang conceptual framework. Na based on the different attributes
Hello,
na
are you still there?
graduates.
Ma'am Joy? Kayo
Yes,
may
ma'am.
comment?
Yes, ma'am. Yung sa conceptual framework ba, ma'am, na parang...
Sir George and Ma'am Baruis, nawala ba si Ma'am Joy?
Naa ma'am.
Andito po
Tama.
ako.
Okay.
In relation to conceptual framework, hindi ako marinig, no? Nawawala-wala siguro internet.
Ma'am Joy, meron
Ay,
kang
loud.
comment?
Hello, ma'am. Nawawala ang internet siguro dito. Marinig ako?
Marinig.
Yes, loud and
Si
clear
Mamunin
po.
siguro ang dili ka dungog.
Marinig.
I'm concerned with the independent variable sa framework pa. That instead na yung alumni involvement, it is more on our institutional outcomes ng graduate attributes bala and values that would lead them to their current employment. Parang ganon. Diba? If they develop certain values and competencies that is being reflected doon sa graduate attributes natin as a researcher, collaborator, would lead them to a better employability. Parang ganon. Hindi na alumni involvement mag-lead sa career status.
So yung gagawin na ilalagay na lang po din sa independent variable. For example, for medtech curriculum.
Graduate outcomes kaya sir, graduate outcomes, yung institutional outcomes and core values.
Okay po.
Kumbaga, if you are a graduate with those kind of competencies and values, would lead you to a better employability. Amo na yung ibang mga sa tingin niyo,
Okay.
Madam Ruiz and Doc Monina. Kaysa ditong alumni involvement, parang hindi siya
Oo.
tugma.
Tama. Kaya dili man siya ang independent variable kini alumni involvement.
Yes, yung graduate attributes natin, being a collaborator, yung 10 as a leader, ganon, and yung core values na meron ka would really lead to your good employability, no? Yung employability status mo.
Graduate outcomes, core value.
But not involvement.
Justin.
Nakuha nyo? Kasi more on
Yes,
kasi
Dean.
like, kumbaga kung anong naibigay na develop ng competencies and core values within you would lead you to something, to a better employability ba? Parang ganyan. And then you base that one na lang dito sa dependent variable sa SOP natin. Okay, proceed na tayo sa ibang parts. I think sa methodology, okay naman sila, di ba?
Okay
Ma'am
naman.
Ruiz?
Okay na sa methodology.
We'll make it sure lang na if we will be getting sample size, Ma'am Che and Sir George, we'll be considering the Slovin's formula with 5% error.
Yes po.
Oo, sa computation natin para at least kahit papano. Pero kung problema talaga in 2 weeks time, hindi talaga, kasi minsan mahirap kasi I think kailangan natin talaga ng assistance ng ating fellow teachers to assist us doon sa pag-contact sa ating mga alumni, para ma-increase natin yung responses kasi same with the sharing natin with Ma'am Che. Sabi niya hirap na hirap talaga before, no? Ako naranasan ko rin yan. Akala ko nga napakadali lang sa nursing, yung sa students na isa-isahin mo talaga sila, no? Para mag-reply lang sila doon, mag-respond sila sa questionnaire, lalo na they are working sa hospital or in different industries. Parang hindi nila priority mag-answer ng mga questionnaires pa. Okay. Sige. 137 graduates. Medyo madami-dami ito, Sir George pala, no? 137.
Yes, din. Na-calculate po using Slovens din. Ang target po din is 102. Then for BS Pharma, 98. Tama po ba yung Ma'am Che?
Yes, sir.
Ang better, advantage lang ngayon kasi we can contact them through Messenger. So
Yes,
hopefully it will be easier. And then may mga GC naman per batch kasi itong mga bago pa lang ito na graduates natin. So
Yes,
medyo mahilig pa yan sila, no? Technology. Sa Messenger, sa mga GC, meron yan silang GC. I know, sa batch nila. Ipa-add niyan, magawa na lang kayo ng GC per batch and then i-ask nyo yung classmates niya. Kaya iba-iba na yung pangalan nila doon sa doon sa Facebook, sa Messenger, iba yung pangalan. Binabaliktad-baliktad ang mga pangalan, kagaya Sir George dati, di ba? Hindi ko nga maano si Sir George, sige, baligtad niya. Ay, si Sir George pala ito. Okay.
Din na mag-ask kami ng list of graduate from the registrar office.
Actually, I requested Ma'am Elena. I'll check kasi nagpadala siya sa akin sa email. I'll check Ma'am kung nasali na yung sa pharmacy and medtech so that I can send you by Monday. Hopefully, if she can provide. Tingnan, i-check ko kay kung nandyan, i-print ko tapos i-screenshot ko. Padala ko sa inyo. Or
Thank you po.
i-email ko sa inyo po. Yung list of graduates per batch. And then mag-reflect naman doon sa ating sa ating questionnaire. I-specify nila kung anong batch nila.
Ma'am Joy, I'd like to suggest
Yes, ma'am.
to the researcher, they will not use the Sloven's formula anymore kasi na ay mga issues ang statistician about Sloven's formula, but they would just identify the 30% of the total population.
Sige.
Pero
Pero kung as much as possible, kung mas maganda, mas madami tayong responses, mas better.
Pero di na lang siguro nila ibutang dira ang Sloven's formula kay according to the many statisticians now, wala gid daw na nag-exist ang dili nila gina-recognize ang Sloven's formula.
Siguro sa ibang statistician.
Mauna na ang mga kuan karon, ang mga
current nila na stand.
na
Pero
stand.
this particular study, we don't need a statistician kasi mean lang ito at saka percentage distribution. Ay mga bright man ito sila, madam. Using Excel lang, dali-dali pang sinikong. Ang challenge lang talaga dito is to get responses. Yun na talaga ang pinaka-challenge, how they can encourage more responses from our graduates. Kahit na busy sila sa ilang trabaho, yun talaga. Medyo hirap. Doon kami natagalan din talaga sa data gathering. Even si Ma'am Chia sa dati, yung sabi nga niya. So naranasan ko din yan. I even help talaga doon sa ating mga students na nag-conduct earlier with the study. Okay. So, yun lang siguro. Unless you have some clarification, Sir George and Ma'am Che.
So for none po.
Okay. So, yun lang yung concern, follow up na lang ako sa Ma'am Che regarding dun sa list of graduates, so that you can start already sending. Pero kung may GC ka per batch and you have the contact for the class president at add yung mga classmates niya. Kilala na nila kasi yung mga classmates nila. So, alam nila kung sino yung mga classmates nila. Kahit nabalik-baliktad ang mga pangalan, updated yan sila. Kasi iba na apelyado yung nag-asawa na. Pag-graduate, nag-asawa. Ayun ka na. Sige lang, tapusin niyo muna itong research niyo bago kayo mag-asawa.
Unahan ka din.
Advantage sila may mga single ladies pa. Tsaka, si Sir George naman. Sige lang, Sir George, saka ka lang mag-asawa pag tapos na itong mga research na to. Bata pa man ka. Okay? So, wala nata silang tanong, Ma'am Reza.
Okay, thank you for that sa ating presenter. So thank you for accepting the challenge from Cherry and Sir George. Susunod na daw mo mag-uyab. Parehas naman sila single din. Again, thank you everyone. Let's just be updated with the revisions and sa data gathering. The research office can help you. You can just contact me anytime for help if ever you need something. Okay, so again, congratulations everyone. Are we going to have a break, Dean, or let's just proceed with the last group?
Okay, so pwede na, andyan na si Ma'am Esther. Oo, mag-off cam na lang sila, Ma'am ano eh. Pero sa introduction, pwede siguro mag-on cam si Ma'am Ruiz. Thank you, Sir George and Ma'am Che.
Thank you
At
po.
ano tayo sa
Thank
data
you,
gathering.
panelists. Thank you po.
Sige. Admita na si Ma'am Esther.